is Dr. Sonia.
Hey everyone, it's Dr. Sonia Sutherland. I'm here today with Shannen-Rose Forde, my daughter, to tell you about a new project that she has been working on. Welcome, Shannen-Rose.
Thank you, Mom.
So tell everybody a little bit about yourself and the inspiration for your project.
Sure. So, as my mom said, my name is Shannen-Rose Forde. I'm 27 years old. I graduated from Augusta University with my bachelor's in kinesiology. And right now I'm pursuing my doctorate in occupational therapy. I also run a business called Lineup Athletics, where I coach gymnastics, and hopefully it'll be track soon, as that's what I did in college.
Awesome.
A little bit about the project, the inspiration behind the project. When I lived in Augusta, I began to see more and more homeless people in my area. And I would give them $5 here and there. I would go to a fast food store, buy them a meal. But it weighed on my heart that they needed a little bit more than that. So what I did was I went to the dollar store and I would buy a bag and put socks and Band-Aids and lotion and sunscreen and stuff in those bags, and snacks, of course. And I put them in the back of my car. So when I would see a homeless person, I would be able to pull over and say, here you go, I have a bag for you. And they seemed really surprised when I had a bag. So that's kind of how it started.
That sounds amazing. So since you started when you were in Augusta, Georgia, it's been several years now that you've been doing this. So what is one story that really sticks to your mind? Who'd you meet?
So I immediately think of this man named Joe. I was driving along the street and I passed a Burger King and I saw a man sitting on the curb. And he looked homeless, but I wasn't sure. So I drove in and I drove around to make sure he was, which he was. And I pulled over and I said, hey, my name is Rose and I have something for you. And I pulled the bag out of the back of my car and I gave it to him. And he goes, oh my gosh, I've been needing a book bag. And he opened it and he was like, oh, this is so great. And he introduced himself and said, my name is Joe, but everyone calls me Little Joe Cartwright. And he was like, do you know where that's from? And I said, no, I don't know where that's from. He was an older gentleman and he was like, oh, it's from the Boondocks. And I think that's a TV show, but
don't feel bad. I don't know what that's
okay. Okay. And he was very proud of that nickname. But he actually had a boot on his foot and a hospital band on his wrist. And he had actually just gotten beat up. He was telling me a story about in the homeless community, him and another homeless man got into a fight, which sent him to the hospital. And so the book bag actually served as something good to help him get back up on his feet after that.
What a blessing that must have been for him. You know, as you talk about that story, it reminds me of a time when I gave out a couple of book bags for you as well. And in this case, it was a younger man. Joe was older, you said, but this young man couldn't have been more than 20, 21. And he was sitting on the curb with a sign with nothing. And so I offered him one of your backpacks and he said, similarly to Joe, oh, wow, I wanted a backpack. And so I was very happy that I had chosen to give it to him. So I went around to Chick-fil-A to get him something to eat. And I could see him from the line where I was in and everything out of the backpack. He was looking at everything in the backpack. And then he started putting things back and he kept one thing out and it was the card. So he kept the card out. I saw him just sitting on the curb reading it. Then he would put it between his legs, between the concrete and dirt, pick it up again, read it again, put it back. So clearly it meant something very significant to him. Tell everybody about the cards, Shannen-Rose.
Yes, so each book bag gets a card and I handwrite these cards and I laminate them so that it doesn't get destroyed by the weather. And pretty much the card says, hey friend, I am thinking about you. I may not know your name, I may not know your story, but I want to give this to you. And each backpack has that.
That is wonderful. And words, just hearing something affirming of your being can be so powerful. So what's next in your project then, Shannen-Rose?
Yes, so this is it seems small, but it's exciting to me. I had a friend who told me about these water bottles that have filters. And so what we were thinking was, instead of having two plastic water bottles, because each backpack has two plastic water bottles, to put a water bottle with a filter in it. And put it in the backpack. That way they can fill up the water from gas stations, from lakes,
Yes.
things like that. And that way they won't also, be leaving plastic water bottles everywhere. So
Sure.
it'll be good for the environment as well.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Another thing is we're looking to join with other organizations so that we can reach more people.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So anybody from anywhere in the world potentially
Yes.
can offer a backpack to a homeless person.
Yes.
And write a note.
Yes. On the website, there is an area that says write a note to a homeless friend. And I encourage people to do that because instead of just me having a letter, it will be from whoever decides to write it. And I will handwrite your letter and put it in the backpack for them so it can also reach more people.
That's fantastic.
Mhm.
So if people want to help and they want to donate, how do they find you?
Yes, you can go to www.legacychangersworldwide.com/BFC donate. That'll tell you more about the project and a little bit of the background, and you'll be able to donate there.
Wonderful,
Mhm.
wonderful. So I guess the last thing I want to ask you is, if you could use one word to describe your project, what would it be?
One word to describe my project. I believe it would be necessity. And I say that for two reasons. One, because everyone needs essentials. These backpacks have essentials. They have t-shirts, they have lotion, they have hats, they have band-aids, they have Neosporin. And actually, there's a 2-minute video on the website. And at the end of the video, there's a list of everything that's in the backpack. So you can see that if you're interested. So I say that it's a necessity for one.
Mhm.
And two, it's a little more personal for me. But a little while ago, I was struggling a lot and I wanted to end my life. I didn't want to be here. And I just couldn't see a way out of the despair that I was feeling. And it was a really ugly bout. But it wasn't until I realized that I am my best self when I'm helping others. And I enjoy my life much more when I'm helping others. I realized that you can experience life so much differently when you're looking outside of yourself. And I have the opportunity to love my life. And that is something that's helped push me forward. So there's this lady named Catherine Wolfe, and she says, despite my situations, I am a joy rebel. She goes, I am rebelling with joy. And I love that about her. And you should check her out because she's awesome. But that's why I say it's a necessity. I also get my joy from helping others. So, yeah.
So backpacks for change.
Yes.
Changing lives for the homeless.
Yes.
And changing your life too.
Definitely.
That's wonderful.
Thank you. Love you. Thank you.
Donate, everybody. It's a wonderful cause.